What's up, everybody? Welcome to Clicken and Bricken. I'm your host, Clicken Cliff, with our co-host, Seth Bland. How y'all
What's
doing?
up?
We
Things are good.
you doing all right, Seth? You have a good, you went on vacation. You have a good trip.
It was a great trip. Made it home, and I'm glad to be home.
Nice. Uh, the Brickwa cow. He's not feeling too good. And he's been out working, so he kind of took the night off, which is fine. He needs rest, so he can be up and ready for good stuff come tomorrow. Who do we got in chat? We got Johnny G. What's up, Johnny? We got
Hey,
George.
George.
We got Johnny Builds.
Hey.
We got Brett. We got Pandemonious Panda. We got Grumpy J. We got a dude Jude. We got Johnny G. See anybody else I miss? Scotty Too Hottie. How you doing? See what else we got here. That's it so far. Welcome everybody. We do have a special guest. I'm going to bring him up here in just a second. Everybody should know who he is, but it's Hope Castle, and he has a channel that he does Friday Night Bricks on Friday night. So we will go ahead and bring him in. And what's up, Mr. Hope Castle?
Hey guys.
How are you doing?
Hello.
I'm doing okay.
Nice.
I cleaned some of my area around here for you, Cliff, since I was being a guest. Don't even clean it for Mama Castle, but I'll clean it for you. So hey, there you go.
We appreciate that.
I need to clean my stuff up. It's bad. We hadn't recovered from Christmas yet.
Yeah. Now we won't have any segments, so I'm going to rely on the chat and us to just ask some questions and get to know Mr. Hope Castle and get to know him. And if you ain't subscribed, go subscribe. His link is pinned, or at least the Friday Night Breaks is pinned.
You can Google that
in the chat. So if y'all want to subscribe, please go subscribe to him. So Mr. Hope Castle, how long have you been doing this Lego hobby of ours?
I started when I was a kid. Actually, I guess I should have brought my first ever set. I repicked it up at Bricks and Minifigs a while back for was it $40 or $60 set number? Hey, let me pull out my Bible real quick here, and I'll be able to show you my set I had.
Wow, I never even seen one of those.
Yep, I got to go back to 1970. I think it's one.
Nice.
One. Maybe not. Maybe 73. 71 would have had me too young. 73. There it is. Set 357.
Let's blow you up here so we
can. Fire station right there. Yep. 357. Well, Europe, North America, and Australia.
Nice.
I like how it says it was from 73 to 75. We don't get that duration much anymore in some of the smaller sets. It's kind of here and gone. But that was the first set I had, and then I found it at Bricks and Minifigs because my stuff has a lot of nicks and stuff on it because we didn't have these when I was a kid. We had what was called a butter knife or a knife, and you just use that. And so I found this. Found that set and I bought it, and it actually the stickers hadn't been applied, so it was actually even pretty cool. So
nice.
What's up, Mac?
What's up, Macro?
Hey, Macro.
Hey, Mayo.
Hey, Mayo.
Well, that's cool. I don't know. I think my first ever set was the Captain America mech. That was my first Lego set.
A little newer.
It's a little newer, but
I don't remember my first set. I have a couple sets when I was young, but I don't remember my first one.
I was in my dark ages through probably the 90s into early 2000s. So once the Commodore came out and stuff like that, I got into computers and did a lot of that. I did a little bit of Lego into the 80s, into when I was in high school, but then eventually got out of that and did just straight computer stuff. I think it wasn't until I got out to Colorado and a friend back here in Wisconsin, hey, there's a store out there, find it. And I found it. And I missed 9-volt by just months. I think it was still out, but not. I think it was by then it was starting to get clearance. So, or if it wasn't, I wasn't paying enough attention to it. I might have always beelined to the clearance section and didn't really pay attention. You know, I walked past the Market Street and all that stuff and never really paid much attention to it. And that was a problem to get into, was heading too much towards the clearance section or the bricks. You know, I built with clear long before Hope Castle started. I actually had a tower with stairs in it. And I had, I used green tiles for grass on the top and had a couple of the old fire helicopters up there. So it was like a fire tower. And that was probably a good 2.5 feet tall. I mean, I had a couple of the early train shows we did. So, I mean, and that was all 1x2 clear bricks all the way up the whole building. So it was kind of funny. I saw it. I was like, wow, I guess I had a hand for clear long before I did my castle.
Have there been, how many different versions of Hope Castle has there been?
A lot. I mean, that video I played a couple weeks ago on my intro after I gave my donation to Children's Hospital is probably on version 5 or 6. It's been around for about 10 years. So, I mean, the first one was only a tower. It was a small tower. And then it just got bigger and bigger. And then once it got to really big, it had a iteration where I had it raised up where it had kind of a moat that kind of flowed down. But I mean, a lot of my moat was I didn't do a lot of texturing. So the castle got cooler, but the landscape around it never did. So that's kind of the next thing, is to try to do more landscaping. So I will need to keep up with my collaborator for the next 2 big shows this year. So
nice. So how long have you been doing shows?
Did the train shows and stuff when I was a member of Cowlug. We did the train shows and we did the mall shows because we had the Lego store there. So we do like mall shows. They'd asked us to come all the time. They're like, they wanted us in that mall a lot because of the store and the traffic it brought. But one of the members in Cowlug, and I had created Denlug at one point, and she had said, hey, you should go to Brick World. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was, it's Chicago, and I'm from Madison. So I was like, oh, okay. If I go, then I can make it a family, hit my parents' house. So I went in 2012. I flew and then drove one of my parents' vehicles down to the show. But yeah, I flew and my mock was disintegrated on the flight. Luckily, it was just a little like kind of like it was a float per se. So a micro, not really micro scale, but a midi scale of the Lego store that I had done. So it was like the Lego store we had. Colorado Mills, I did a replica of that, and then I had a couple of the Lego yellow semi cabs pulling it with some chains, and so that was my first mock. But it had signs on the top that one of our other employees had designed that said Colorado Mills Store of the Year 2009 and 2010, because we were the first and might be the only store ever to win Store of the Year back to back. And so I had some really cool things made using the early versions of the CMF kind of figs on a couple of them. They're floating around somewhere. I don't think I have them here. I think I had them at one point, but I think they're back in storage now. But yeah, and the float is just disintegrated at this point. But parts are somewhere. But yeah, so and then I just kept going. I mean, I haven't missed a Chicago yet. I did do the virtual ones in 2020. So they did a bunch of virtual ones, and they did do a Milwaukee in 2020, and then they did the virtual Brick World in 2020. I can't remember if they did a 2021 or not, if they did a virtual. So, but
now virtually is kind of like a big old Zoom meeting or something, or do they?
Yeah. So basically, for that one, everybody kind of the first one. I know I did a couple of them. The first one I did the whole 6-hour show by myself in my storage with the camera. I couldn't move the camera around a lot because I was using Wi-Fi and stuff, and it wasn't very good to move the camera. So, but I had set the whole castle on my build table, in my workshop storage type thing, and I was able to do that. The table was big enough, and so just walked around, watched the chat, answered questions, whatnot, but turned the lights off a little bit, so I had my own personal world of lights, in my storage. So that made it kind of cool there too. So
nice.
So
Um,
cool.
what's up, Zizu? Welcome. If you, Bay and Chat got a question for Reed, shoot it out. We'll display it up there, and he can answer it. It's got to be not good, nice questions. Don't make it PG only. I know there may be some ornery people out there. So speaking of castle, so I'm assuming that is your favorite kind of theme.
It's my favorite theme. I definitely have less sets of that than anything else. I mean, City was what I was going to do with a friend here in Madison. So I have hundreds of unopened City sets that, I had bought tons of. And those I've been slowly liquidating duplicates of. Like I bought, like back in the old days, they had the really small sets. So I had they had a police motorcycle. They're really cool for motorcades. So I had tons of those. And those I've been slowly kind of liquidating some of that stuff. But Castle by far is my favorite one due to Hope Castle, which, this would have been my first one here. So it wasn't much more than just it looks actually better than my face, actually. It was only a tower. It was just, and that was the year it kind of built it in honor of my sister who was battling breast cancer at the time. And I had a boat that I'd built for Taylor, who had just passed away. And so I built a boat in memory for him and stuff like that. So, but it started small, and it's not real big these days. So it's kind of.
I remember when I first got on live streaming with Hoosier and them and met you. You see, you had a clear castle, and I never did understand why would a guy, what's a clear? I mean, and then they explained to me what you're trying to do. So I thought, well, I kind of respect that. That's pretty cool that you made it, different rooms for different people that passed on or what
Well, and the other thing too is, just World of Lights, when they turned out the lights, it would glow a lot better. And at the time, during the time, they had the 1x2 clear plates and the 1x1 plates on the wall. So when you start building anything, any kind of a mock, you want to be able to interlock your parts. If you can't interlock them, they just won't, do anything. Like even here's one of my things I haven't dismantled yet. That like the drawbridge is still kind of part from one of the earlier versions that never got dismantled, but it was available on the wall, and I could get that in quantity. So I was like, well, this I can start doing this, and so I built it like on a plate, and then realized, oh crap, I can't build it on the plate, and then I wanted to be able to have it move around a little bit. So in the end, it was built with molds. Basically, you just tile what you want to build, and so different versions. The first version was like the walls and then a ceiling. But then I was like, well, crap, that means, I can't really, I'd have to set guys up kind of whatever and have that extra base. And then in the long run, it turned to where it was the base and then the walls, because then I could set guys up in there. And I didn't even have to take them down because they were actually in place. And then I just set the next floor on top. And so some stuff over the years has been never taken out. Like the treasure room, if I set it in the box right, I don't have to dump the treasure out. I used to dump that out for shows. So. But yeah,
we got the first question from chat. Reed, if you won the lottery, would you consider opening a bricks and minifigure store?
Perhaps it'd have to be part of like a roller rink, bowling center complex. It would be, if I ever won the lottery for a good amount, it'd be a massive complex of fun, enjoyable stuff, including probably a Lego store. That way you're able to do other stuff there, or even have classes or stuff. So like while parents are bowling, you can be like, hey, these nights are open late.
Because you enjoy bowling yourself, don't you?
Not the last couple of years as much as I have in previous years, but yeah. Well, the one center I'm not doing very good. Actually, they asked me to bowl Friday, but I was still up north and I couldn't get down in time to bowl, and so it would have been a frantic race to try and get there, and I've been just subbing. But Friday nights I would have subbed before bowling, so if I could, or before the show. But yeah, so yeah. I think about it. Yeah.
All right, Mayo's got a question. Why do you like Chima ice bears?
These guys, these cool Chima ice bears. Well, Well, I don't have, well, and they might be in the bag over there. I actually started with, first started with I had I had some CMFs on the very first version in that one that, the first one. But then I had the Pharaohs from Pharaoh's Quest. I had a bunch of those battle packs. And so I had those guys guarding it for a while. And then I was like, because I like purple. Clear's not my favorite color. So the trans purple's making things really cool because then I can build stuff in trans purple now. A nice pink polka dotted locomotive there,
I like it.
But
what's up, Jay? What's up?
I went to the purple horde. So I had a bunch of purple guys that were guarding the castle. Well, we mentioned bowling. Back in 2015, I was bowling in a men's league out in Colorado, and they had a strike pot. So you'd put your $2-3 in, but you had to hit certain strikes during each game. I mean, most times I missed, but one night I was doing good. The first game I had them all. Midway through the second game, I had most of them too, and I think the mechanic's like, "Hey, do you want to know when you need them?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me know." And so, I got through the second game. The third game, I was still going, and I actually got to the last frame. I had the lady at the bar have shots ready. So, because when you have a lot of stuff on the line, you get nervous. So, I do a shot, go down, throw a strike, go back, do a shot, quick shot, easy, basic shot, just something simple, and go throw another one. Well, I threw the strikes I needed, and the place erupted. Lo and behold, one of my teammates from my national team was down on the end, and he was like, "Wow." So what? He comes down there. I was like, "What'd you do? Did you hit 300?" I'm like, no, I hit the strike pot. It's like, "Oh man." I says, "Why? What was going on with you?" And he's like, "Oh, I was bowling for 300." And he missed. Yeah. He was just like, "Wow." I said, "Well, yours is a little bit more exciting than mine." I says, "Yeah." I says, "But yeah, it was $7,000." And so when I won $7,000 bowling, that was when the Ice Bears started. So I basically I went out and bought, not at the Lego store, because that's where I worked at the time, but I went out and hit all the Targets and all that stuff. I wish I'd bought more, but I bought like 47 of the battle packs of these guys. And of course, unlike Star Wars, there's only 3 Chima figs per pack, so I only had 120 guys. But that was the start of the Ice Bears. And then with that money, I acquired most of the big allotments out on Bricklink to where I'm at now, where I'm at about 800 Ice Bears. And then I also upped my clear plates selection. So I would go to the store and I was buying, 7-8 cups at a time, which was about a case. And so, yeah, that was where everything that year, had I not won that money, Hope Castle would not be where it is today. It exploded at that point because that money just was like, wow. I'm like, oh, this money in Ice Bears. Battle packs, $10. It probably ate up about half of that, but Hope Castle is much better for all that extra stuff that it was able to do.
That's all we got. Life with Crazies up in here somewhere. Right there. How you doing? We got Jay's Bucket. Welcome in. Speaking of Jay, this guy right here, just real shout out to George. I don't know if y'all subscribe to Jay's Bucket. If you haven't, you need to. They had a wedding in his chat, and that's the first time I've ever seen that. And George got married to somebody. I forgot what her name is, but it was pretty comical. I did not ever.
Amelia, I think.
Amelia, that's right. Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. Welcome, George, into the chat. So Reed, other than that, is there another theme that you like other than city and the castle?
Obviously the CMF lines are pretty crazy for me. So obviously I've got some of them over here. Let's see if my camera probably won't move as well as Ben's did at his show, but yeah. So I've got some of them over here. So I've got just a miscellaneous cornucopia, but I got like the Series 27, and then I got the D&D figs over there. CMF I have a lot of the Winter Village stuff. But those I have stopped acquiring stuff for my own building. Those I'm just kind of, I have them. I have a full set of those. But yeah, so it's pretty much castle. The CMF line, I'll use those. Those guys get sprinkled in the castle because they'll be nice to throw all that humor in there. Banana suit guy. All the different characters that are food groups generally could get eaten by ice bears if they wander too close to the Hope Castle area. So, but
Nice.
I mean, to me, I'm into trains a little bit. Because I'm part of the Madison group, Wislog, the Wisconsin group, I did say I would do a corner, but then there's Jeffrey down in Illinois that I see at Chicago everywhere, and we're a bunch of shenanigan brothers, and so he was building a clear train, and so I was playing with that, and that's my purple one, but I also have a clear one back here, and we don't have a lot of parts with clear, and so the railings are actually using a brand new part using the headlight brick, and then there's that 1x1 plate with clip. It's just on the side there, and that way I can use the lightsaber blades, and of course there's a badger in there. So yeah, so trains are kind of the other thing I have a fair amount of. I have a bunch of those. So
Jay's Bucket asked Reed, if you could create a new theme, what would it be?
Well, I'm kind of probably something. It'd be a combination. It could be either like something with the translucent stuff, like translucent. I can't use that word. Translucent dreams or something. Or I would probably maybe try to recreate. Go back into the Chima domain a little bit, but have different characters. Like the skunk. The skunks have been converted to badgers in my universe. So I have, I took the skunk heads, which I have a bunch of, and I actually just used a very fine white Sharpie and just put lines in it in certain spots to make it more like a badger. And so this is the one that if people have gotten my sig fig from door prizes and stuff I've given away, this is kind of what I'm using as kind of a sig fig right now. Until I can kind of afford to make a custom one myself. And so the badgers, luckily I still have some more heads I need to paint, or at least helmets. But something probably, maybe a new Chima 2, Chima Returns, type thing. So
Zazu asked, when did you start streaming on YouTube?
For the show streaming would have been 6.5 years ago. It will actually hit 7 years this year while I'm out in Colorado for Brick Slopes, Colorado in April. So 3rd week in April, I'll be out in Colorado for that. And the show hits 7 years at that point. I've had a YouTube channel for much longer than that. I have 2 channels. The Hope Castle is where it started. We rebranded Friday Night Bricks halfway through about 3.5 years ago. My videos go back a while. I did some videos from when I was doing, when I went to Kids Fest, I did some backflops into Lego piles. And so that was from 12 years ago. So,
wow.
So, yeah. So I've been kind of out on Facebook since 2010. So, YouTube since 2010. But yeah, so.
If you guys want to subscribe to Hope Castle's channel or the Friday Night Bricks, their links are in the description of this live stream. So if you want to go subscribe, make sure you go check the description out. And he streams every Friday night on the Friday Night Bricks one. I want to say 7 o'clock Central.
Yep, 7.
Yep, 7 o'clock Central.
This last week we actually had a good panel. We had a good one. We actually even had Mark from Brickworld and Ben jumped on. Ben was on, and of course Larry is notorious for doing accidental drop tests when those guys are on the show, and he did not fail again this last week. Obviously, it wasn't anything major, but
what's up, Clever?
Hey, do you collect anything else other than Lego?
Trying to think. Not really. I don't really have. I'm trying to think if there's anything other than being a pack rat. I'm trying to think. I don't think I really have collected too much. Obviously bowling balls. I probably have a good 10 or 12 of them, but Because I didn't really do a lot. I mean, I got back into Lego. I mean, I really wasn't doing a lot of other stuff because I play video games. So, I mean, other than having a massive collection of video games, I mean, I have one of those huge, like, the big, like, 4 CD things of, like, for like audio and stuff. I have full of games and stuff too. So, I mean, I played computer games for a long time. I still do. And so I have a lot of that and movies and whatever stuff. I still have all my cassettes. I probably LPs. I had LPs from the back in the day, but yeah, nothing. I was never ever collecting to collect. It was just kind of stuff that kind of was acquired. Because I don't think any hobby stuff I really ever had that I was really that into for collecting. I can't think of anything. Well, I do collect Munchkin games kind of. Once I got hooked into that at Chicago, so that'd be about it. So.
Mayo asked, if you weren't after transparent and translucent pieces at the time, would you have Army built a different figure at the time?
Well, I mean, if it wouldn't have been, it was ice all along, but if it had been something else, possibly, maybe I would have maybe just kept on the Purple Horde type train. Possibly, I mean, because I probably would have built it out of something else if it would have been like purple, if it had been purple 1x1 plates or purple 1x1, purple 1x2 type stuff. I might have done the Purple Horde, or maybe even like I would have maybe even gotten into some of the other stuff. So, and it's also possible I might have just ended up going into city, because I do have a lot of city stuff, and I have a lot of city stuff built. I mean, that's the other thing, is I don't take apart a lot of stuff. And so that's the other problem with my storage, is I have a lot of boxes that have stuff built in them. And so like all the vehicles I've built over the last, decade and a half are all most likely till together, all the sets. Some got taken apart occasionally, but not very many. I guess I should say, yeah, I did take apart a police station, a fire station, and a few things. Stuff from a kid is in like a big under the bed container that I have, and that one is that one's still in my storage somewhere. And I've used that stuff when I first got back into Lego. I used some of my old 80s space stuff at a couple train shows in the early 2000s before my collection got big. So,
right.
But yeah.
Brett Bills, he asked, how many sets have you got at Hope Castle?
Sets do I have? That's a good question. Yeah. I wish I kept up with my brick set, because it's not. My brick set kind of has got a fair amount of what's in there.
I keep saying I'm gonna sit down and do that, but I never do.
Well, I mean, I kind of do it once in a while. Like, it doesn't have a lot of the CMFs in there, and I was kind of looking at it. So, like, the overview of my collection says I own 7,600 sets, 2,500 different. Now, granted, some of the stuff on Brickset has been sold. I had a Motunui that I sold. I had a lot of the Indiana Jones, some of the Indiana Jones sets I've sold, some of the city duplicates I've sold. I mean, I've sold stuff over the years, so it's probably not super accurate. But yeah, because somebody was mentioning like minifigs on Facebook, and somebody said, well, I got like 2,200. I'm like, I got like 3,500 different, and that's because of the CMFs and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, and that includes some of my old sets, and it's also going to include all the collections I've acquired. Like if I acquired a collection and it had had instruction books in it, I went through and I put that in, and I don't know if that's in the brick set, but I know that was part of my spreadsheet. So I still would include that stuff as a value of what my collection has. So
see, I started doing a brick set tally of everything. I started. I got. This has been a couple years back when I first heard about it. So I got every set that I had on it, but then I failed to keep up with it. So
it's hard.
It is.
I mean, if you buy stuff, like I got a couple poly bags up here. I forgot. I think I was using them for like something, and I was looking for parts of something, and I have them just sitting up here. So they probably aren't cataloged in my collection, because they're sitting somewhere weird that I don't know about. And so
now I got a question. This has been a ongoing debate between me and Haley. Do you, in chat, you can answer it too. Would poly bags be considered a set?
I mean, I consider it. I mean, if it's got the right stuff, I mean, it should be considered a set. I mean, it's just, if it's just something weird, I mean, maybe not. But I mean, you're building something, so technically, it probably would be a. I mean, I would consider it probably a set from that standpoint. So,
See, I think it's got a set number, it's got instructions, and it's got a bunch of bricks in there. To me, that'd be a set.
yeah, to me, it's. I mean, if it was just like a single, like the single individual figs they do occasionally, stuff that are in a poly bag, maybe not. Because it's you're getting just kind of a fig of sorts. But I mean, to me, it's. I mean, I'm going to count it with my sets. I mean, I know I have a crap ton of them. I don't know if it lists. I thought it had it where you could actually pull it aside in brick set, but I don't see that in my set. So maybe I haven't grouped them in my stuff. But I mean, to me, that would be.
What's up, Will?
Hey, Will.
See, they got GWP and they got 18 plus and they got paper bags, but they don't have. See, and that'll be interesting to see what they do with poly bags as they've gone to like paper bags for all the stuff inside the sets. Are they going to try to figure out how to do a paper bag poly bag at some point? That'd be kind of interesting to see. So,
well, Clever, she said she wasn't going to buy a Lego set this year. Then she went out and got a poly bag, and I say, "Well, Haley, you're wrong. You just got done buying the set." I think it's a set.
I mean, most of the stuff is building, and yeah, I mean, I kind of wasn't really. Somebody had posted some of the stuff they had seen at the Walmart that they had gotten. They had the poly bags out, and I wasn't really impressed with those because they don't really, unless it's got a minifig for me. I mean, it's not really going to be something I'm going to jump out and buy right away. At least not as many as I normally would buy, just because they won't do as much for me. Maybe the 2-can 3-in-1's kind of cool, but to me, I want to be able. That's why I usually used to donate because they're cheaper. I'm not finding as many on really good clearance yet this year, so I mean, hopefully, my travels this next week, I might find some. $3 is as low as I've seen. I'd like to see them a little bit cheaper than that, just because then it makes it sense to pick up a lot of them.
I found some on January 1st. I went to Walmart. They had a bunch of the Disney poly bags, but they were, I don't know what, they were only like $1 off. I mean, they usually like $5 a bag or something. Or poly bag somewhere in there.
And they probably used to be cheaper. They used to probably be cheaper back in the day, $2-3 and stuff. And so they just keep going up and up in price, but the piece count doesn't seem to really keep up with that. So, I mean, you're getting. But then again, we have the same issue with the CMFs. They keep going up too, and they're not a lot of pieces either. So it's kind of I missed the fact that you used to have those really small box sets, and so those would be kind of
cool. You do ask what's a licensed IP? What would you like Lego to release? That you would like Lego to release? Speaking of the devil, there's Haley.
Yeah, you say your name kind of like you used to do with butt chop. Say the name and they show up. That's a good question. Probably, I probably love. I mean, they probably wouldn't have a lot of sets for it unless you'd have a lot of buildings. It'd be like maybe Airwolf or something. Airwolf, A-Team, something like that. Some of the old ones I liked when I was a kid. Might be cool ones there'd be an IP release that you could do a bunch of stuff. Other than that. I'd have to think of something, and they've already done most of the IP stuff for like anything medieval. So, I mean, there wouldn't be, that or a Western one, maybe Gunsmoke or something, where they do a lot of the Western stuff, Wild Wild West, a lot of fancy stuff like that, trains and Western and all that stuff. So,
right. Haley, hello everyone. I prefer She Devil. Thank you very much. Clever Pig saying hi. People used to find poly bags 50 cents all day long at Toys R Us.
Well,
oh wow, I got a question. I answered that already, but I'll answer it again. It would be the Captain America mech. Don't ask me what set number or whatever it is, because I do not know. What's up? We got Mr. Seawolf up in the house. How you doing, Mr. Lobster Man? How you doing? Zizu asks, why hasn't Lego made Inspector Gadget sets? Cool minifigs. Some vehicles would have cool play features.
What IP would that be under? That's, I mean, who owns that? I guess that's the kicker. So,
Yeah,
I mean, that would
it
be
was on Nickelodeon, but
yeah. That, I mean, for him, you'd almost. I mean, he might be tough because he had the arms that extended and stuff. So you'd have to have a way to almost change out his arms and stuff. I mean, that would be, you almost have to have like Mr. Incredible type, or Mrs. Incredible type stuff, type thing. So
This is for Seth. What was your first Lego set?
I don't remember my first Lego set. Now the Lego set that I remember the most about is the Forestman Hideout. So we'll just say that.
Okay, Reed, do you remember the last thing you bought day one?
last thing I bought day one. Well, I just haven't had Brick set open. Let me see. I know this year I found stuff early. Definitely CMFs would be by far something I would probably buy day one. I'm trying to think for like a bigger set. I'm trying to think. Because generally it would have to be something smaller because I wouldn't have a lot of money. I mean, so it'd have to be something I would see. Speed champion cars I've been buying day one. If they're out, not this year, but at least not any of these new ones right now. But definitely Speed Champions cars I buy because it's something easy to build on the show. Let me see what I got sitting behind me. It's a lot of stuff I look for on sale and stuff.
That's the best on sale.
Do you plan on getting any of the F1 series?
I probably have. I mean, some of the Dragon stuff, maybe, like the Master Wu's Battle Dragon. These guys, if they were out, maybe when they came out day one, just to see what they're like to transition from all the water dragons to these guys. I think I have 8 to 10 of these, but I have 20 of the water dragons or so. So, and all the Master Wu dragons are being converted with the elves white dragon heads, so they look more elvish than they do Ninjago. So yeah, so I have a couple sitting here that I was going to build at one point. One box is empty, one's got stuff in it.
The Battle Dragon.
Yeah, because awesome. I like this set, but this set, because of the corn stalks, I mean, the corns and stuff were just so expensive on even on brick on the brick pieces, whatever. So I guess that really wasn't that much on sale, but I mean, still, that was a good set. I mean, it just was like, pretty expensive for 300 pieces. So probably the molds for that, for the corn stalks and stuff. And I have some of that stuff, but I haven't really used it. I mean, I buy lots of parts. It's just, what do I use? It really depends on what I'm kind of building at the time. So
George says, what was the biggest Lego set in 2012? I have no idea, George. Maybe read.
My book won't go back that far, but let's see here. 2012 probably would have been 2012? Oh, yeah. Well, that book does not go back to 2012. Does this other one go back to 2012?
Reed will figure it out. Reed has research capabilities that I do not.
How long this one? Oh, this one only went to this. Then they only put the one out for another couple more years. So 2011, 2012 probably was one of a huge Star Wars set. Would be my guess.
Wait a minute, when the first UCS set came out,
might have been the Falcon. Well, no, I think the Falcon was 2000. I want to say that was even. No, the Falcon was in these books, so it wasn't one of those. It might have been Super Star Destroyer maybe or something. What year did that one come out? I know the Falcon, Death Star was 2008 because I have one of those, and then 2009 would be most likely Star Wars because they haven't really been doing a lot of other stuff. That was because Emerald Knight, that was 09. Tantive 4, 1,400 parts in 09. Oh, ETOT dropship was freaking huge back in the day, too. And that was 2009. 12 is probably, I'm guessing, maybe Superstar Destroyer. Maybe. Because they had the Imperial Shuttle at 2,500 parts in 2010. They've had some big ones. So you're asking a question I don't know if I can answer.
He's looking at a book at a book from.
I got these. One of these actually Hinkle. I think Hinkle might have found me, but yeah. So this guy's it's the collector book. Actually have, and then they re-released it again, the second edition, but only this one went through 2007 or 8, and then this one went through like 2011. But I mean, I have two of these. I have two of the first version. I had this in my apron at the Lego store. So when people say, "Hey, I'm looking for the Amtrak looking train," I'm like, that one was last released in like 2004 or 5, whatever. It's been gone for a few years, so that one you're not going to find. And so that was kind of the kicker. Is it was a good Bible to have in my pocket at the Lego stores, and so pretty cool. So we're looking at 12. And Technic, I mean Ninjago. We did have some. We had some Lord of the Rings that year. We didn't have the Tower of Orthanc that year, did we? No.
I don't know. Meantime, Zizu asks, "What's your favorite castle faction, not Chima related?"
That's a good question. Let me give me 1 second, and then I'll look. Let's see. There wasn't. I don't know. Biggest set for 2012. Can't answer that. But here I can let you know. It was the Rogue for the longest time. And I would say probably maybe the Fright Nights. But let me see. Let me go into my sets. I can actually pick like by quantity in my sets, and it'll actually you'll laugh because this is my collection. Come on.
Definitely read Seawolf. Hope Castle definitely has the most Lego knowledge on the panel.
I worked for Lego for 7 years, so that kind of helps. God, why is this not letting me do this?
As far as
brick sets being slow, but so I mean, I collected a lot of, and actually, I probably have some behind me here, or I did. I might have moved them. I had a bunch of the.
Google says a town hall in 2012.
Actually, I had them, but I don't know what I do with them. I had a bag of. Oh, they're up here. So, like, I was, this guy's probably a close. This is probably a close one too. I got the Red Dragon, CMF, but he's not really a castle faction. But I had these guys. And I bought a boatload of the Fright Nights because they had the nice translucent stuff. I was trying to think. I actually had. Let me look at this. I had the other day. Here we go. Year released. Number. Who?
Mayo, he can use Chima and Castle if he wants to. It's called all imagination.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. I mean, to me, it's one of those things where, of like, if it's Castle, it's probably going to be either Fright Night or, it's working. Brick set's kind of slow tonight. I'm taxing it. So let's see here. Wait.
Does Brick set have a way for you to put something if you have duplicate copies? Like, does it keep up with that for you?
Yeah. So,
cool.
Hang on, see, we're answering one question first, and we'll move on to the next one. I got it marked.
Quantity you own. Hold on, never mind. Here we go. Well, I have. That's not. Okay. I'd say Knight Protector. The Knight Protector had the trans purple sword, the moon shield. I have 51 of that figure, so that would probably be most likely. And it's trans purple and a purple belt and a purple in the armor. So that one, Rogue, I had 50, and that one is because it's Wolfpack. It probably is going for crazy amounts of money right now. And that one I sold 15 or 20 to Pop's Block Shop this last summer when I was up in Green Bay, and he was like, and I was like, oh well, I'll sell them. And I think I can't remember what I sold them for. I mean, I might even trade $6-7 a pop or something. I don't remember, but they're going for crazy amounts these days. So,
All right. C Wolf asked, how did you get into working for Lego?
well, I mean, those people who've been around the community long enough probably know Mr. Hinkle, Kevin Hinkle. He was working at the Colorado Mills Lego store, and I shopped there a lot because I was a cable guy. So I would, even back then I might have been living down south or somewhere, but I would go by the Lego store a lot. Our offices for my cable job were real close to that area, so I by the store a lot, and so I stopped in a lot. And so Kevin at one point was like, probably told the boss I had for all 7 years, was like, hey, we maybe should hire this guy. He's always here. He seems to know a decent amount about Lego, and he could always learn more, but maybe we should hire him. And then I went in one day. I was like, where's this guy? You hired a guy? He says, well, yeah, I remember you still have your Brickling store. I'm like, oh, that's all that's stopping you guys? I went home that day and closed my Brickling store, and I was hired like a couple weeks later. My hire date was 9/9/09. So a date that will live in infamy for the rest of my lifetime. So, but yeah, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, so they hired me, and I worked for a few months, and then they had an opening at Full-Time Soup. I kind of regret going full-time, but that was one of those things where I did, and my pay went from like being a cable guy to a Lego employee was like in half. I mean, at least minimal half. And the one thing I was always taught and was always a good thing was never bring your personal life to work. And so it never came to work until they decided to repo my van. And then my personal life finally invaded work. But otherwise, I kept it separate because once you're at work, there's nothing you can do. Almost absolutely nothing. I mean, unless you're in a job where they'll let you like leave if you're in an office or something, working a call center, they might be able to let you go. I mean, where I was at, I couldn't go. I couldn't leave. So I was like, there's no point in whining about, something I forgot to pay or, something happened. I mean, my car problems. I mean, there's nothing you can do. So, but yeah, so I worked there and then worked my way up. And when they built the new store, the boss chose me because I was a hard worker over the guy with the degree. So, I mean, it's in the end, I mean, I still got 7 years out of it, seven years and 3/4. I get one thing behind me from my career at Lego. One thing, I got my 5-year trophy for 5 years. I want the 10-year one, but I'll just reverse engineer it from Hinkle's at some point. I wanted the guardsman, but this is a drawer that pulls out. A couple drawers maybe. So it's a brick. So the drawers pull out. And it's kind of cool. So I made it. So I mean, the first person I hired as an assistant store manager made it longer than I did. He made it 10 years. So that was kind of cool.
Zizu asked, thoughts on separating Lego with screwdrivers?
Don't really use it, but I mean, like these guys, I have a couple of the the gold brick magnets, and sometimes screwdrivers help you get magnet sections out of the back of like the brick magnets, but I don't really use them unless I absolutely need to, because this will be like the butter knife of when you were a kid. Right. It just doesn't. I mean, you're better off taking, even for the brittle brown stuff and the brittle stuff is taking multiple brick separators and just putting them together. And I had a bunch, so just taking them and putting them together. And just putting a plate on there. So taking and putting two together, putting a plate on there to hold them together, and then just using multiple ones for that. Or, I mean, I burn through a lot of these because these suckers with separating plates. I mean, the tips on some of these I go through a lot. And hopefully people have been watching Facebook. Some guy posted that he had like a huge bin of probably a few thousand of them. And I'm like, hey, I could take some of those off your hands. Like, well, I work for Lego, so I can't really sell them. I was like, well, I sure could use a few because I do kill. Once I start taking apart castle stuff, kill a lot of them or at least I kill the fronts, and they start to really, they wear because they're trying to scoop underneath stuff. And if anybody's there's a slope, there's a small 1x2 curved slope, and it doesn't have the slot, doesn't have the edging on it like most every Lego piece has. They all have like a little lip underneath, so you can get the brick separator underneath there. But the 1x2 curved slope, nothing. You will kill brick separators, or you'll kill all your base plates and stuff trying to get those off. That's where you'll be taking your base plates and kind of bending and tweaking them. So,
hey, Lego Chewbacca.
Hey, Lego Chewbacca.
What was your favorite part about working at the Lego store?
That's a good question.
I mean, I actually got to feel like kind of a celebrity. I'd see people at other stores and stuff and say, "Hey, don't you work at the Lego store?" I worked the pick-a-brick wall, so I was in terms of managing that. I mean, I would say that was probably my favorite part of the job. I mean, discount was always good. I mean, I definitely don't spend anywhere near the amount of money I did when I worked for Lego. I probably, I mean, I wanted to look at that at some point in the future. I want to go back to dig through my receipts, because I bet I spent way more. Even living by myself in an apartment paying rent, I bet I still spent I probably ate a lot of ramen noodles and a lot of hot dogs back in the day working for Lego, because I was buying a ton of Lego. And so that's kind of the thing, is I did have a part-time gig for a while at the bowling center. So I worked part-time there a little bit, a couple nights a week or whatever, or helping make a little bit of extra spending money. But definitely the pick-a-brick wall was my baby. I actually even set up the one when they redid the other store where I first started, when they turned that into a yellow store. I got to set the pick-a-brick wall there too. So that's probably the best thing, is just talking to customers. I mean, it was fun. I did a lot of building. I have pictures probably still on my phone that go back, 12 years, where I built like a watermelon for a birthday party or a car or something. They wanted it with instructions, so I would build it, shoot screenshots, and then I would send it to the parent saying, "Hey, this is here are your instructions." But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I mean, didn't build a lot. Once I was managing a lot, I didn't get to build a lot, especially was busy. We did do birthday parties. That was always fun. That was the fun stuff when they used to do birthday parties. And mini build events were okay, pretty crazy. But birthday parties on Saturday morning, I did a fair amount of those. I have a fair amount of the T-shirts from doing those, but that was fun. So, I mean, there was fun stuff. They don't do it all as much anymore. I mean, they probably weren't making a lot of money on the birthday party gig, but it was fun to do. Or actually, it wasn't birthday party, club meetings. They did do birthday parties a little bit when I first started at the mills and stuff. Birthday parties, I don't think we could have done at the one store I was at, because it was too small. But club meetings on Saturday before they opened for an hour, that was always cool.
Well, guys,
Awesome.
We got about 5 minutes left. We're going to kind of wind this down a little bit. So if you got any questions, make sure you get it out in the chat. And Zizu did ask, Star Trek, Star Wars, or Doctor Who? If you had to pick the three,
silly question you asked, sir.
There you go.
There you go. It must be Star Wars. We do want to give Reed a chance to shout himself out. Is there anything you want us to know in the chat?
Just hope to see people at either, if you're out west, Brick Slopes, Colorado, coming up in April, or Brick World Chicago in June. That's where you'll see anything that's going on with Hope Castle this year. I am collaborating with Ralph, Victor Brickworks from Colorado, and he will have his 750 plus Croc Army with my Ice Bear Army doing whatever we're doing at those shows. And so hopefully we will have some competition somewhere. I did challenge Shy Time for Chicago, but we'll see what happens there. I kind of challenged him to see if any of his human armies were up for a conflict with the Chima universe. So we'll see. I have rainbow portals, so I can we can move our guys anywhere on the show floor, because we've got the rainbow portals we use. That you think there's a pot of gold? No, it opens a portal to somewhere else.
Zizu said Mayo did ask Reed, what's your favorite train set?
Favorite train set would be. That's a good question. Trying to think which ones I got. I kind of like the red bullet train. That's probably what I have the most of. Always did like the Metroliner. I have one of those. I would have loved to have had a Santa Fe. Never got one of those. So Maersk I have. The Emerald Knight's pretty cool. I like to redesign it. One of the girls here in the Whistler, one of the ladies, has a Emerald Knight in purple. So that's pretty cool.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So the very last question will be from Seawolf. He asks, "What is the biggest build of Lego?"
For who? For what is my biggest build?
I'm assuming he's asking. He's probably asking the set. What is the biggest set? I think it's what is it? Well, now it would be the. What is the biggest set out there? Would it be the Eiffel Tower now?
Yeah, Eiffel Tower would be probably the new Death Star or whatever that's coming out. Probably, maybe if it's it's going to have that price tag, so it might be that. Mine obviously would be my castle because at the peak it was 125,000 plates, and then that's without even counting all the ice bears and stuff. But the biggest set would probably be that Eiffel Tower that came out a couple years ago. I think that's the biggest right now. I think.
And guys, Friday night, 7 p.m. Central. Hope Friday Night Bricks goes live. He's got a pretty cool panel that joins him on Friday night. They talk about a bunch of stuff. And if you want the links, like I said, they are in the description of this live stream if you want to go check him out. Seth, you got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
We do want to appreciate Hope Castle coming and spending this hour of time with us. We do appreciate that. It's been fun. It was great. Get to know him. I will be live Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central. So come back and hang out. And hope everybody had a good New Year's. But yeah, great stream, everybody. Yep, it was a great stream. Reed, you got anything else you want to say before we end it? We got about 30 seconds or so.
Uchima. No. I'm just yeah, I mean, I'm hoping my pal Mr. Butt Chop comes back eventually because I did buy a boatload of these guys and he did have his Eagle Spires. So I'm hoping he comes back to building at some point. He did post something about like an old memory of an old city, which I think was Playmobil, which I thought was quite shocking. But so
right. All right, guys,
have fun building. Yeah.
Next week it is topic night. I think we're going to be talking about Gladiator or something like that.
Galador.
So make sure you come back next Sunday. And guys, remember y'all keep clicking and bricking. Bye-bye.